Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting really well informed on, well, some pretty complex topics. Today we're jumping into something fascinating. The world of botanical and plant-derived drugs. It's a market really looking set for some major growth. Our goal here is to basically unpack a detailed market report. We'll pull out the key stuff, sales figures, future projections, growth rates, all around the world. You'll get a much clearer sense of where this sort of green medicine trend is actually heading.
It really is a unique space, isn't it?
Yes.
Kind of bridging that gap between traditional knowledge and, well, modern pharma. And the scale is huge. Just for context, back in 2021, this market was already worth nearly $29 billion globally.
Wow. Okay, $29 billion.
Exactly. But the projection, it's expected to shoot up to over $65 billion by 2033.
$65 billion, so more than double.
More than double. It shows this isn't just a blip. It's a sustained expansion over, more than a decade. Real confidence building in this sector. And that's underpinned by a global compound annual growth rate, a key AGR of 7.12%. We're going to dig into what that really means region by region.
Okay, let's unpack that global number first. Just under $29 billion to over $65 billion. Yeah, that's a massive leap. It really sets the scene, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that 7.12% global CAGR figure, it's important. It tells us this is more than just, a temporary bump. It points to a real fundamental shift. Sustained robust expansion over the long term.
So less niche, more mainstream.
Definitely. It suggests these plant-based medicines are gaining much wider acceptance globally. It's a clear trend.
Right. So with that big picture in mind, let's zoom in. What about North America specifically?
Okay, North America. It holds a very significant chunk of this market, and it's also geared up for pretty solid growth itself.
Yeah.
Think about $11.3 billion back in 2021.
Okay.
That's projected to hit over $24 billion by 2033. So growing at a healthy 6.59% CAGR.
And within North America, the U.S. must be huge.
Yeah, the U.S. is, as you'd expect, the powerhouse. It's projected to basically double its sales over that period. Canada is also showing strong, consistent growth, a really solid contributor. But it's quite interesting within North America.
What's that?
Mexico. Its market is forecast to more than double, and it actually boasts the highest CAGR in the whole region, over 8.5%.
Huh. Mexico leading the growth charge. That's surprising. Any thoughts on why? Maybe cultural reasons or?
It's likely a mix of things. Mexico has a very rich tradition of using herbal medicine, right? So that could mean higher consumer acceptance.
Yeah.
Plus, you probably have growing awareness of natural health options. Maybe pricing plays a role, too. It suggests a faster integration into everyday health practices compared to maybe the U.S. or Canada.
Makes sense. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. How does Europe look in this botanical picture?
Europe's also showing really significant expansion. It started around $5.5 billion in 2021. And it's projected to climb over $12 billion by 2033. So again, more than doubling, with a KGR pretty close to North America's, around 6.6%. Now, looking at specific countries, your major players like the UK and Germany, they're showing steady, substantial growth, both roughly doubling their market size too. France is growing nicely as well. But here's where Europe gets quite varied. Some countries are really picking up speed.
Oh, like who?
Well, Russia and Spain, for instance, they're showing particularly strong growth. Their AGRs are well above that European average, think 7%, almost 8% in Spain's case.
Okay, so faster uptake there.
Exactly. And then there's this category called Rest of Europe. That segment shows an incredible CAGR, nearly 9.5%, almost tripling its market size.
Wow, 9.5% for the rest of Europe. That really stands out. What's driving that collective boom outside the big economies? And how does that square with, say, Luxembourg? The report flags it as having the lowest growth, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. The high growth in rest of Europe could be, maybe, a surge across several smaller, less saturated markets. Or perhaps places where traditional remedies are being integrated more strongly into healthcare now. It suggests growth is spreading out. And then you have Luxembourg at the other end, just over 4% CAGR. That might point to, a market that's already quite mature, perhaps saturated. Or maybe different regulations or even cultural views limiting that kind of expansion. It shows Europe isn't just one single story.
Fascinating variation. Okay, let's shift focus again. Asia-Pacific, often a region full of surprises and, well, rapid change.
You nailed it. Asia-Pacific is really leading the pack in terms of growth speed. It has the highest overall regional CAGR, 8%.
8%, okay.
Yeah. Its market is projected to grow from around $8.2 billion in 2021, get this, to over $20.6 billion by 2033.
Huge leap.
Monumental. Now, within that, China's the biggest market, naturally,
Hmm.
and set for very strong growth.
Hmm.
Japan's also a major player with solid, steady growth.
Yeah.
But the real standout, not just in Asia-Pacific, but actually globally,
Yeah.
is India. India. It leads the entire world with the highest CAGR, nearly 9.75%.
9.75. That's incredible. What's fueling that kind of explosive growth in India? Is it the Ayurvedic tradition, population, or?
It's truly exceptional, isn't it? A big factor is definitely India's deep cultural roots and widespread use of traditional systems like Ayurveda. Botanical remedies are just foundational there. You combine that with a huge, growing population, rising incomes, and this increasing focus globally on natural health.
Oh, it's fertile
A
grounds.
perfect storm, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Tradition meeting modern demand in a big way.
Okay, let's shift hemispheres. What's the picture down in South America?
South America is also showing some pretty robust growth. Overall figures go from about $1.6 billion in 2021 to almost $4 billion by 2033. That's a very healthy CAGR of 7.3%.
Solid. And Brazil leads there, I assume.
Yes, Brazil, being the largest economy, has the biggest market share and is set for good, solid growth, around 7.1% CAGR. But beyond Brazil, you see some really impressive acceleration. Look at Colombia and Peru.
Both are showing KGRs well above 8%. Colombia's at nearly 8.8%. Peru around 8.4%. So really strong momentum there, too.
So again, like Mexico, some countries really taking off. Any common threads there in South America, perhaps?
It likely echoes some of what we see elsewhere. Growing consumer desire for natural products, maybe easier regulatory paths for certain traditional medicines in some places. Plus, improving access to healthcare generally could be boosting demand in countries like Colombia and Peru. It fits that broader global pattern of integrating plant-based options.
Right, makes sense. Okay, rounding out our global tour, the Middle East and Africa. What's happening there?
Okay, the Middle East. It shows impressive growth, too, set to more than double from about $1.1 billion in 2021 to over $2.8 billion by 2033. The KAGR there is strong 7.76%. Saudi Arabia is the leader in that region, showing very robust growth, almost tripling its market value, actually. Though you do see variations, like Qatar showing a bit lower growth rate.
And Africa.
Africa's overall market is also projected for significant growth, almost doubling its value by 2033. Nigeria stands out there.
The biggest market.
Yes, largest market in Africa, and growing strongly predicted to more than double its sales. South Africa, while obviously a major economy, shows slightly lower growth in this particular sector compared to Nigeria.
Got it. Wow, that's a lot of ground covered, a really detailed global picture. So when you step back and look at all these numbers, what's the big takeaway? What are the overarching patterns you see emerging?
Well, if you connect all those dots, the big picture is quite fascinating. It's clearly a market expanding everywhere, but in sort of two different speeds. You've got steady, quite mature growth in established regions, North America, parts of Europe. These drugs are becoming more integrated into existing health systems.
Right, fitting into the existing structures.
Exactly. But then you have this really rapid acceleration happening in many emerging economies, particularly across Asia-Pacific. I mean, India leading globally is the prime example, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also in specific countries in South America, like Colombia and Peru and parts of the Middle East. It suggests that while developed markets are integrating, these newer markets are almost leaping into adoption.
Driven by maybe culture or need or preference for natural things.
Precisely. Often a combination of cultural acceptance, maybe unmet healthcare needs being filled, and that growing preference for natural solutions we talked about. It's a dual-track expansion.
This deep dive has certainly painted a vivid picture. Robust growth, pretty much everywhere, huge opportunities. It's clear this isn't just a small niche anymore. It feels like a really powerful force in global health now.
It really does. And that raises, I think, a really important question for all of us, for you listening too. As this botanical drug market keeps expanding, as it hits these new highs in different regions, what might the implications be for the wider pharmaceutical industry? And maybe even how does it change how we think about sustainable health and the role of, traditional knowledge in our modern world?
Definitely food for thought. What does this rise mean for everything else? A great question to ponder. Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration today. We hope you feel a little more informed about this truly booming sector.